This is a conversation for Gen X, so anybody else, you're welcome to listen in, but I'm pretty much going to be talking to Gen Xers. What are we doing? What are we going to do with this? Because it's clear that the boomers, many of them have checked out. I only know one boomer that actually thought it was a horrible thing that when someone told him, some broker told him, your property's worth this many millions of dollars, and he actually thought that was bad. He went, oh my God, that's not good. Because he understood that what that was going to do to the next generations of people. I only know one guy that thought like that. Every other boomer I've ever talked to, they hit as far as they're concerned, they hit the lottery. They're like, oh my God, I'm rich. This is fantastic. I'm a financial genius because I bought a house in 1984. I mean, just weird shit like that, right? Yeah, I mean, this is a bit of a problem, isn't it? Because, Gen X is the last generation that remembers what the country looked like in the before time, right? Millennials don't remember that stuff. And Zoomers really don't. Alphas don't have a prayer. So it's kind of down to us. And it really kind of sucks because I can't imagine, I can't imagine a generation so, so unwilling to want to do, hesitant. I don't want to say unwilling, that's not true. Hesitant to want to involve ourselves in this giant shit show that we see right now. But, look at the reality. Think of how many people out there, I see it all the time on the internet. People are like, dude, isn't there anybody else that we could pick? Because I know that the presidential douchebaggery is coming up here, and it's going to be coming at you pretty much 24/7 in the next couple of months until the elections. And it's looking like that we're going to have a choice between two completely checked out of touch, rich boomers that have nothing in common with like 80% of the entire country. And 100% of anybody under 50. So, the choice between President Silver Alert and President Red Flag. So, yeah, guys, I mean, I see these comments, and, lots of folks are saying this, myself included, going, hold on, I mean, couldn't we find anybody better to do that shit job? And make no mistake, it is a shit job. I can't imagine why anybody would want that job. I understand people doing the job, but I can't imagine somebody wanting that job. What a shitty job. Oh my God. Man, I don't know. Like, well, but power. No, man. If you think of power like that, you've got something really fucking wrong with you. For real. I'm just telling you. I'm not a mental health professional. But if you think of power in those terms, I think that you need your goddamn head examined. Because that's not something that's going to be, that's not helpful to have, no. In fact, what you should want is to decentralize power as much as possible. That should be almost everybody, that should be on the agenda for everybody, is decentralizing power. That was what the founders wanted. The founders wanted to decentralize all of it. The founders wanted you to have the power. Why do you think that the amendments or the Bill of Rights, where do you think that came from? The right to freedom of speech, meaning that freedom of speech was something that existed prior to any kind of governmental arrangement. The right to keep and bear arms, meaning that you're supposed to be as armed as heavily as any military person, with whatever you want, and that creates the balance of power. That creates your that creates your actual balance. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess the question is, like, I'm not exactly the most patriotic kind of guy, but these are your countrymen, right? Millennials and Zoomers, I mean, these kids, these are your kids, these are your people. This is what you have to deal with, okay? I don't give a shit if you're black or white. That doesn't mean nothing to me. I'm talking to Americans. I'm talking specifically to Gen X Americans, because that's really what this applies to. So, and of course this would also apply, by the way, the same idea applies across the pond, because I see that, I see what's going on in Britain. And there's a lot of Brits that are asking the same question, going, my God, what the hell happened? What happened to the country? Like, yeah. So, what do you think, guys? Do we abandon the next 3 generations of people to what's effectively, I mean, look, we all know where this is going to turn into. It's going to turn into feudalism again. It's going to turn into sort of a quasi-feudalistic hellscape. That's what it's going to turn into. And the reason I'm talking specifically to Xers, because you guys all know, you know the same shit that I know. You know the hypocrisy of the average boomer is beyond anything that, my God, I didn't even think it was possible for human beings to be that hypocritical. Yet the boomers never cease to amaze me. So, you know, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Where do you think that this should go? You know, should we actually take the time to try and help some of these folks out? You know, because I mean, I'm talking about half of Gen X are in the same boat as many millennials. About half. They don't own large swaths of property. They're not living in fucking McMansions. They don't have all kinds of money to go buy $100,000 Orange County choppers that they're going to ride for something like what 400 miles, and then it sits and collects fucking dust, and it winds up on fucking Pawn Stars, or $2.5 million triple black Hemi Cudas or whatever the fuck it was. Like, dude, none of us are doing that. I don't know too many Gen Xers that are really splitting a fat hog. I mean, there's some guys that are doing okay for themselves, but about half are not. They're not. They're not even. They're not even. Many of them aren't even homeowners. Something as simple and fundamental as that. I know there's a bunch of you out there that push this idea of, well, this is why you just have to get what you can and everything. Like, yeah, okay, but you doom the country. So what do you want? Giant profits, or do you want a country? You want any kind of legacy? You can have giant profits, or you can have some kind of a legacy, something that actually means something. For those of you, in case you didn't know this, look up the founders of this country. And I know that the millennials and Zoomers are all taught that, oh, they were evil rich white men beating slaves on a daily basis. That's bullshit. That's not true. You look up, most of them died broke. I think the majority of them actually died broke. John Hancock, who was you could think of him as the Elon Musk of his day. I don't think Elon has the guts to do what Hancock did. I'm not being mean to Elon, but Hancock, he was willing to die at that point because he was doing rather well, as I understand, under British rule. He was fairly rich, for his day, really rich, and was willing to give all that up to have a legacy. And even he died. When he died, he didn't have anywhere near the money that he had. Well, of course, we all leave the world with what you come in with, right? I mean, it's part of the deal. But none of the founders, to my knowledge, had lots of money. In fact, I think Jefferson was like $1 million in debt or something like that when he died. So yeah, I mean, this is a genuine question. So I mean, I'm not trying to summon the council of Gen X elders here, but it does seem like something we could, I don't know, have a conversation about. What do we do? Because clearly there's not going to be any help from boomers. They're too far gone. Obviously, I think that's objective at this point. Either they're too far gone mentally, they're too far up their own asses, with hypocrisy, and it's hard to. In fact, it's hard to be somebody who's older like that and then have to reflect on your life and go, oh my God, I made a huge mistake. It's easier just to ignore it. And that's what I'm seeing most boomers doing. This isn't a criticism, actually. It's not even a criticism. It's at this point, why bother criticizing? No, this is an observation now. I'm not even criticizing boomers. I mean, look at reality. Beginning in the next 4 or 5 years, they're going to be dropping at 8,000 a day, and it will peak in about 15 years at about 40,000 per day. So I'm not even criticizing at this point. You guys got yours. Enjoy it. Enjoy your McMansion. Rot in it. Have all the illegals that are crossing the border change your diapers, because I'm not interested in doing it. I'm talking to my parents on that too. I would say the same thing to them. So, and it's not any animosity there. I mean, I'm just telling you. So, what do you guys think?